1, 2. Melanated family, we back for another one, man. How's everybody doing? All this nonsense going on in the world, all this debauchery, everybody killing each other. We're crazy. I'm like, damn, how do I even watch the news or anything without meditating first? It's crazy out here, family, but I'm back. Another episode today. On the Melanated Convo podcast, I got my brother Jermaine Morris, who gonna come in and clarify my run-on sentences. You feel me? Get everything right for the family. You know what I mean? I bring him on here for a reason. I need some clarity sometime. You know what I mean? So everybody, please, if you haven't met my brother, this is my brother. This is my brother in radio, in podcasting, my mentor. The brother been helping me for hella years without even knowing it. You know what I mean? So everybody, welcome my brother Jermaine Morris. Jermaine, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, and I appreciate the kind words.
Look at it. Look at him, just smooth. I'm like, Jermaine, how did talk about the Appalachian Mountains? He's like, well, I'm like, God damn. This man know everything. Smoothly though. You know what I mean?
A little bit about a little bit.
There you go. So today, what we're going to do today, family, is touch on a couple news topics. We're going to talk about the dysfunction. The surrounding topic is, the dysfunction in our community, man. I do a lot of talking about, and I'm always talk a lot about racism, white supremacy, the system that got us here. But a lot of times, God damn, do we make it worse? Do we make it worse? Boy, do we help them? So today, we're going to talk a little bit about some news stories. We're going to get into some black leadership. I'm going to have fun with my brother. But first things first, like I was just telling Jermaine, hey, everybody, do me a favor. If you got some free time during this week on the weekend, go watch a documentary on A&E about the brother Bobby Brown. Now, I'm sure everybody's seen the movie on BET, which was a good movie, but documentary style where you get to hear him talk, you get to hear people's input. Like I'm talking about this because I grew up listening to Bobby Brown, like the Don't Be Cruel album. We know all this, right? But like 8 years ago, y'all, I went to a concert here in the city I live in, Sacramento, Memorial Auditorium, right? I think it was Aaron Hall, Keith Sweat, some other people, right? Aaron Hall couldn't show up. So they was like, in his place is Bobby Brown. And I'm like, what? Ain't he on that dope? How you gonna come out here and give us that work on that dope? Right? That's what I'm thinking in my head. I've never seen Bobby Brown speak on a microphone. Right? When I say, and the brother was plump. This was an emergency. They called him last minute type shit. They was like, he late getting here. All this, right? The brother Bobby Brown must have ripped the stage a new one. He running around, singing all his hits, sounding just like the records. I was like, wait a minute. Whitney told me on that stage, Jermaine, she said, Bobby's the king of R&B. Y'all tried to laugh at Whitney. She wasn't bullshitting.
That's Bobby the King. K-A-N-G.
K-A, and you said you've seen Bobby a couple times, right?
I've seen Bobby multiple times. So
man,
the first time I saw Bobby was back in the 90s. And so, and the last time I saw Bobby was maybe 2 years pre-COVID. It was the Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike tour. So, New Edition, they fall out every 6 weeks. So this version, it was when they was beefing with Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill. So Belle Biv DeVoe and Bobby Brown went on tour together as Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, because you can't use the New Edition name unless the other two were involved. So it was, I thought it was the dope concept. It was when Bobby Brown went up, Belle Biv DeVoe sang all his they were his background singers and dancers. And when they did the BBD hits, Bobby was one of their background singers.
Makes sense.
So they stayed on stage all night. But it was just like, and Bobby killed it. Like Bobby, this was just a couple years ago. And Bobby was still out there just, we root for Bobby too. Like the whole root, like everybody, it was a bunch of people. SWV was on that ticket. Genuine was on that ticket. A few other folks. But Bobby got a special place in our heart. When Bobby was out there still hitting the step, everybody was rooting for Bobby.
And when you do research, Bobby was a stand-up brother. Like everybody calling him a dope fiend. He like, nah, but my girl.
Yeah, I mean, he dabbled. I mean, it was just I think what it is that Bobby did drugs, but Bobby wasn't a bad guy. Bobby was getting arrested for like indecent exposure.
Yeah.
Bobby was getting arrested for like stuff like that. Bobby wasn't walking around. He wasn't robbing people. He wasn't beating up women. He wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bobby just had a habit.
Yep. And like you said, something that didn't come out till later, he didn't start his coke habit. Like his woman introduced him to something and he kept it 100.
Yeah, when the whole Bobby and Whitney thing, the presumption was that Bobby Brown got Whitney hooked because Whitney was America's sweetheart, and everybody loved Whitney, and Bobby is, you know, the bad boy in R&B. He must have got her hooked.
And it's the man, all of these type of stories, Jermaine, because I do what I do now, I'm like, damn, the media, man. When I say they got a strong hold on the message.
Yeah.
And what we see and what we perceive as, and I can only imagine being in that position where you live in your life and you like, damn, I just seen the news and they said 100 wrong things about me. None of that was true. You know what I mean?
When it came to Whitney, Bobby always fell on the sword for Whitney.
Yep.
He let the world believe he was the demon, he was the bad influence, he took all the shots that he could take. You know.
And yeah, so I bring that up, family. If y'all haven't watched it yet, you have a little time this weekend. It's 4 parts. I'm on part number 3, I think. So I haven't finished it yet. But go on A&E, watch that documentary. This is one of our Black kings, man, who was put through the mud. And this brother dealt with the death of his parents, the death of his ex-wife, the death of 2 kids. I'm in a, you know what I mean? I'm in a position where I've lost my parents throughout my life. So I know kind of how that feels. But some people have the benefit, Jermaine, of going through life not experiencing loss like that. Like maybe you're a little older, maybe it was a person you weren't that connected to, but dealing with someone you're around every day that's no longer here, it's a lot. So I commend that brother.
Yeah, they were both within a year apart, something like that, each parent. Then some friends, then lost his daughter, and just recently lost his son, and lost Whitney and bunch of Bobby is I remember he did that awards thing and he stood up and everybody was cheering for him. I remember what it was, Image Award, BET Award, something. And like the first words out of his mouth, he was just like, God ain't done with me.
God, he must not be done.
Said he's not done with me, man. He's still working on me. So he's got very gracious spirit,
right? Because Usher was honoring him and stuff, and they had a great conversation. I'm only thinking in my mind, I wonder, Jermaine, when people become affluent and they have all this access to things throughout their life, whether it be money, any type of drug they want, they just get in a position where they have all this access. And then the access begins to hurt their life. Like a family member dies, like things begin to happen. And I'm wondering, damn, do the person think, I wish I was just a regular dude? If I was a regular dude, then maybe that wouldn't happen, or maybe that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean?
Never being that person, I couldn't speak to it firsthand. I ain't never had that much money. But I would think that to a degree, because if you're like, I'm out here wilding and I got all these people around me, but the only reason why they're around me is because of I play for this team or I got this album, whatever. It's like I could just, and some you I take it back. You do hear about some people who do that. They just fall back and they quit doing music. They quit doing movies. They move to a small town. They just they're like, you know what? I just don't want this anymore. Like, I want to be able to live in peace. I want to, so I can see that if you realize that these things that are around you are pulling you towards a direction you don't want to go, and you may not be 100% sure how strong you are to resist them, that you may just need to remove yourself from the environment.
Yep. Because I know a lot of people, Jermaine, this may sound fucked up. I know a lot of people who aren't strung out or who aren't just out of their mind because they're broke. Like I'll be thinking, if this person had access to everything they wanted in life, if they had access to every drug, to everything they wanted, they'd be crazy. They can't handle the little they have. So if you gave them the ability, you can have whatever you want every day of the week. That's a strong pull that some of us never get to experience, for good or for worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, what is it? Money amplifies what you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're somebody that's already kind of on the fence, you have questionable discipline about stuff, maybe you don't handle things the best, giving you more money is not going to create discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Giving you more money is not going to create alternative ways of coping and dealing with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you smoke weed because weed is what you can afford.
Ain't that?
Do you know what I mean? But the reality of it is, if you bump up 2 tax brackets, you probably change your drug of choice.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, you don't have a drug problem; you just have a problem getting drugs. So it's just, yeah, you're
that's real.
Yeah. So for some people, less is more. For some
Mm-hmm.
people keep it in the pocket. I equate that to dudes who know they need to come home at night. Like dudes who are like, well, man, just come out and have a beer with me. No, because there'll be some women at the bar. There'll be some stuff going on, and I'm coming to have a beer with you, but I don't know what 2 o'clock's going to bring. So I'm just going to go home at 8. Like I'm saving me from myself. I'm just getting out my own way, and I'm just going to take my behind on home. Y'all have a good time. You know, peace unto you. And they go to the house. Those are people, like, so sometimes less is more, less options, less opportunity, less resources.
Yeah, because discipline is the motherfucker. It's not as easy as it seems. All right, so let's get it popping, family. The first thing I want to talk about with my brother Jermaine, I seen a story, and I'm gonna play the news clipping here of this story that I could not believe. So I want the family to check it out. Let's see, Jermaine. We're gonna talk about this after I play. Where's it at? There we go. Wait, where's my brother?
I'm here.
Nope. Hold on one second. There we go. All right, so hold on one second, y'all. Listen to this. This was unbelievable. I'm all the travesties we've heard, just us killing each other, mass shootings. This one took me for a loop. Like I wasn't expecting to witness something like this or hear about something like this. So let's listen to it real quick.
A woman is dead tonight, and Orlando police say that it was a 10-year-old girl who shot her. Well, she's Amanda Dukes joins us live from Orlando Police Headquarters with an explanation of what led up to the shooting. Amanda.
Well, according to police, the mother of a 10-year-old girl was in the middle of a fight with another woman when she handed her young daughter a bag with a gun in it. Orlando police were called to the Windsor Cove Apartments on Mercy Drive just before midnight Monday. When they arrived, they found 41-year-old LaShun Denise Rogers suffering from a gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Police say in an area located between 2 of the apartment complex buildings, Rogers had gotten into a physical fight with this woman, 31-year-old Lucretia Isaac. Investigators determined at some point during that fight, Isaac handed her 10-year-old daughter a bag with a firearm in it, and it was the 10-year-old girl who fired 2 rounds, striking and killing Rogers. Loved ones put flowers on the sidewalk and wrote messages for Rogers, whom they call by the nickname Bone.
I'm tripping out, I'm mad, I must say, and it's very devastating because it was like really for nothing.
A woman named Nana, who said the victim is her cousin, didn't want us to show her on camera, but said the victim was joyful and lived very close to where the shooting happened. She doesn't believe there's any way to justify the killing.
It could have been self-defense. Your child should have been in the house at this time of night, or even while you dealing with anything.
Both Isaac and her 10-year-old daughter were taken into custody. The child was turned over to DCF. Isaac faces charges of manslaughter, culpable negligence, child neglect, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, aggravated assault with a firearm. Now, police tell me potential charges regarding the 10-year-old's involvement in this fatal shooting have been passed along to the state attorney's office to review. Her identity is being withheld because she's a minor. Live in Orlando, Amanda Dukes reporting WESH 2 News.
All right, so hold on one second. Hold on. Let's remove that. All right. So, Jermaine, looking at we see time and time again everything we go through in our community. Just with the mass shootings recently, every other week there's a killing in our neighborhood. My brother Barry Axius does a great job of keeping us up to date of all like the self-inflicted wounds that we bring upon one another. How do you unpack that, Jermaine? Seeing this 10-year-old girl shoot somebody for her mama, and you gonna tell me what she said after? It's not funny. You gonna tell me what she said afterwards? But this is a high level of dysfunction, bro.
Yeah. So so many moving parts. So without knowing the details, got the Cliff Notes version, but I don't know if the mother gave the daughter the gun because she didn't want to shoot her. So she took the gun out of her own possession because she just wanted to fight. And the daughter misinterpreted that and took it upon herself to shoot her. I don't know if the mother handed her the gun to shoot the woman.
Good point.
Do you know what I mean? So, because she could, if she had a gun on her and she's in the middle of a fist fight, she may just be like, "Here, hold this." Like, we're gonna get up on that grass and she gonna get these hands, and that was gonna be enough.
Good point.
Or she had different more sinister motives. So without knowing that, so that's huge. And then the little girl, if this was the case of if the woman was getting the best of her mother and seeing her mother taking an L, that might have been what prompted her to then shoot her, as opposed to being directed to shoot her. You know what I mean? Like there's in any event, there's so many things that was wrong with this thing from the jump. They said that this thing was based around social media nonsense. The mother walked down to the other place with her daughter to confront this woman about, Facebook beef. That in itself right there. First off, you brought your daughter with you to confront another woman.
Yeah. Right.
And the fact that you're confronting, she's in her 30s, the other woman's in her 40s. The fact that you're even having an altercation over social media stuff like that. I mean, there's just so much stuff that's wrong.
Real talk, bro. And that's a good point. The daughter could have took it upon herself and said, "You hurting my mama.
Yeah,
I'm gonna shoot you." But the problem I have is you brought a gun to the altercation. I don't think people realize the amount of courage a pistol gives any individual.
Yeah.
I think if your intent isn't to shoot somebody, you shouldn't bring a gun to an altercation. That's just leaving it open. Like that's.
So my only difference with that is that you're walking to where she is.
Okay.
So for all you know, if somebody shows up at your doorstep to confront you, the probability of you having something to reach for is probably pretty good. So if you take it with you just in case, it turns that way. Like I said, my whole thing doesn't even start with that. It starts with, why are you even walking down there to confront a woman over social media?
Yeah.
But the whole the gun part is just turned so much into as an alternative. It's such a quick option for everybody. Well, I need to go down there. Well, you don't know who she got down there with her. She may have 3, 4, 5, folks with her. And let me just go ahead and bring this thing with me. Just in case.
That makes sense. And like, to me, the parenting aspect of all of this is what shocked me the most. Like, regardless of how all of this played out, bringing your daughter down there, even let's just say, Jermaine, no gun was involved.
Yeah.
Just bringing your daughter down there to confront a woman over social media, we have to understand what this is showing our kids. Like, at this point, there's way too many aspects of our dysfunction. Like, of course, we know we receive it from the system, disenfranchised. All these things are still happening today. But I'm tired of seeing us make it worse. Like, I'm looking at, this is my opinion. This is Harrison speaking. I see a lot of parents, Jermaine, who I look at them and say, your ass should have never had kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we have so many things, and like I said, moving parts, that we have a lot of, we have a lot of self-esteem deficiency through a lot of areas of our community. And so it's why we try to buy our self-esteem and wear our self-esteem and drive our self-esteem. We talk about where we work at and all these other external things to try to speak up, to try to fill up those holes that we have. Well, when you walk around a state of self-esteem deficiency, any form of disrespect seems magnified.
Makes sense.
So then it turns it, well, I just can't let him say this about me. Oh, she just gonna think that I'm the one to play with. Like we take things that are just like, because we're not so sure about ourselves, we care so much about the idea of somebody that when you're secure within yourself, you don't care. Like it's like so-and-so says such and such about you. Well, who's that anyway?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
what difference does that make in my day-to-day life? They can think whatever they want about me. But when you're operating in that feeling of that self-esteem deficiency, you feel like you have to show up to every battle you're invited to.
Show up to every battle you're in. That's a good point, bro. But I personally think, Jermaine, just from being like a young parent, and I speak about my story a lot, but I think this plays a role in a lot of the dysfunctions that I see in my community. Like the self-esteem piece you was just speaking about. I think sometimes, all the times actually, we need to try to get a handle on this before the kids come. I think that self-esteem issue speaks to the fact where we see a lot of young mothers, because it's self-esteem. It's, I didn't get love. There was no father around. There was no one around to love me. So I'm going to have kids to create something to love me without resources, without a lot of the things necessary to make a family what it needs to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She was 31, the kid's 10. Let's just say all things equal. She was 19, 20 when she got pregnant with her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So at 19, 20, I don't know how together she was or wasn't, and what she could instill, you know, because the daughter's argument was, you know, she shouldn't have been talking about my mama. Like, she came down to address this, you know, woman to woman. Like, the daughter had a very grown woman mentality to this, in the sense of she was regurgitating what she heard.
Exactly.
Like, she came down to confront her. She came down like this, you know, she'd already been inundated and programmed with this mentality. So for us, when we start just so bigger picture, moving away from them, like community wise, when we find these things, like, I understand you want to catch somebody before they have children. I mean, realistically, this is stuff that we want to raise up in our children before they start procreating. But just is frequently as possible. I mean, because realistically, we have people who have this mentality who do not have children.
Very true.
I mean, they're in their 30s walking around with this same thing. There's 40-year-old dudes who are still getting into fist fights because over some, what are you looking at? You know what I mean? And they may not have any children, but it's the same self-esteem deficiency. It's the same behavior, which usually leads to the same outcome.
And just looking at, like, not just so that situation to me is like a microcosm of a lot of bigger things that happen, because I see too often parents who do the friend thing where, like we were talking about at the show the other day, they're intertwining everything. Like, if I have a problem with a woman down the street, if I got a problem with your daddy, if I got a problem with Smud, you know what I mean? The water bill coming, I'm including you in all of these situations when, damn, we got to get away from that, man. It's your kids have nothing to do with that. And you're adding like unnecessary pressure to a child when they should be outside playing. They should be eating popsicles and worried about homework. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that 10-year-old girl was saying something to the effects of, well, my mom just came down to confront her woman to woman. That's not a 10-year-old mentality or verbiage.
Yeah.
She came to confront her woman to woman. That's not 10-year-old talk. Do you mean like that's grown folks programming stuff into these children, that and removing their childhood and trying to, when we talked about that live show, these are not small adults. These are children. It's not a 4-foot 40-year-old. It's a 9-year-old. Do you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes when we look at our kids, we'll say stuff like, "Oh, they're mature for their age." Or, no, I mean, they're a kid, but they're not really a kid. She's like an adult. He's like an adult. He's responsible. She's responsible. And they're still children. As mature as we think they are, as grown as we may think they act, they're still children.
And I'm the reason, just Melanated family, the reason why I talk about stories like this, we're talking about a story of a 10-year-old girl who shoots a woman. based on the fact her mother was having an altercation with the woman. And Jermaine, like always, brought up some good points about, which is real shit. The one that being in this environment, it's dog eat dog. It's survival. So you can know your environment and say, you know what, I'm gonna go confront her, but I'm going down there to her. I don't know who down there. Her cousin could be down there. That one chick could be down there who always got the gun. It could be insinuating circumstances to make you say, you know what, I'll put it in my bag just in case. The daughter, knowing it's in the bag, could have said, you beat my mama up, I'm gonna step in and shoot you. But to me, we gotta do better than this. Like the racism piece and the systematic piece is a thing, everybody, but we have a say-so in all of this. This breaks my heart when I look at I look at the mass shootings. I look at our young brothers killing each other over nothing. I think, okay, damn, who gonna come in and help? It don't seem like nobody from the outside finna come in and assist us.
No.
So we got to start looking at each other and having conversation with each other. Like, let's start early. And these is babies before we even have kids, before your little kid have a kid. We need to start restructuring how we view ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So can't put cart before the horse. So a lot of times in our community, the first thing we got to start with the babies because adults are stuck in their ways. And I'm not trying to convert some 40-year-old who's been living a certain way, whatever. Okay. So you start talking to the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old who lives with the 40, 45-year-old that you don't want to talk to. How you think that works? So this idea that you can't just sit there and say, you know, we do these mentorship programs and stuff, and these kids will come be around mentors and hear positive influences and positive words, and then go back home to the toxic environment and all the bad programming that they had to deal with. We can't, yes, incorporating the children is necessary. You know, putting it in the hearts and the minds of these babies is necessary, but we can't just act like we just cutting ties with all these grown folks walking around because they're 30 years old. They're gonna be stuck. Yeah, and they're gonna be here for another 50 years. So we just gonna act like they not like. so we need to talk to everybody.
We need to help everybody.
Everybody.
I'm getting to a place of like complete love where you can't save everybody, but I'm trying to do my best mentally to say, okay, how can we use said person?
Yes. Because
some of the people in our neighborhood, I know for sure they're dealing with generational dysfunctions. Yeah. And if you trace these generational dysfunctions back, it go way back to how we came here and all the fucked up shit that happened. So shouldn't they receive like a little bit of grace, Jermaine, opposed to just saying, you 40, you're stupid, throw you away, we can't do nothing with you. Shouldn't we be like, wait a minute, they are part of this same system that created all of us, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. If you can reach a 40-year-old and they can understand that the world is not just the way they've seen it, that's a testimony for the 10-year-old coming up. Like, nah, man, I've been out here doing this, and I've thought this for the last 35 years of my life. And I realized that the world didn't throw me away. And the people in the community did still reach out. And someone did still want to hear what I was going through. And people do still care. You know what I'm saying? Like, in some of them, you know, they walled up. You may not get to them, but some of them, some of them are a conversation away. There's a lot of folks who still on the fence, who are just like, you know, they're tired. They feel invisible. They feel in pain. They feel hurt. And just like everybody just walks past them.
Damn,
and if you're the person who actually reaches out and somebody did stop and listen. Somebody did sit and talk with me. Even at 40, someone does still care about how I'm doing.
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, and then that 40-year-old who's been thinking that a certain way, if not, even if it's just a little crack of light that's been in the dark room they've been in forever, from then on, they know the light exists.
They know the light exists.
Prior to that, it's hypothetical. It's theory. Man, don't nobody out. Man, people really care. Whatever. I ain't seen it. People come through and they still, man, nobody I know. Like, who you talking about? I seen on TV. Ain't nobody come around here trying to see what's going on with me. And then when they realize, when they have a real world experience of somebody who actually cares, it's no longer theory. It's no longer hypothetical. You know, that's why you find a lot of people who get saved as they get older.
That's true.
Because that's one of the few social constructs we have in our community that practices and focuses on redemption. In our community, in our life, we throw them away after 24. But you could be 45, fresh out, and you walk into church on Sunday and you're hearing Jesus loves you, and you're hearing that you can still have a life after your mistakes. And we find folks who get saved later in life because that's the only place in our community that really pushes and promotes that you can still be more than what you were.
Ain't that something? Because it's funny you say that, Jermaine. I have older people who reach out to me about, like, I don't know, I talk so damn much, but I'll say something about history. Yeah. And they'll be like, man, but proudly and I appreciate this. I'm 56 and I ain't never heard that before. Yeah. I'm like, damn. But they hearing it and it did something to them. That can make him a better grandpa, yeah. Right? It ain't too late for you. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that right there, typically men are better grandfathers than fathers. And so when that grandpa you have a great relationship with, man, pawpaw, granddaddy, whatever you call him, ask his kids who he was when they were young. And they'll tell you that ain't the same man I grew up with.
Yeah.
Papa was a Rolling Stone when I was a kid. You know, Father Time done caught him and he learned how to come home now because he can't drive at night. You know what I'm saying? So he's learned patience now. He's learned the importance of being there now. He's got an appreciation for granddaddy, and the kids run up to him hugging him, where when he was a younger man, and I'm gonna say he didn't care, but it didn't hit the same.
It didn't hit the same.
And you have a lot of men who are completely, testosterone levels are a little bit lower. What you're shooting for in life has changed. Your perspective and mentality is different. That's what I said. A lot of men are better grandfathers than fathers, and a lot more care, a lot more concern, a lot more. And yet you're talking about guys in their 60s with a brand new perspective and a brand new way of approaching things. You know what I'm saying? So we act like just because you got on past the other side of 25 that there's just no hope for you. And we show over and over and over again throughout life that is just not true. So that's why I said we got to get rid of the idea of just abandoning adults and only focusing on children.
And that's how I think we create like balanced elders, like the type of elders that can add perspective and give us tools. Because you're right. What if this same 60-year-old dude still think he the same dude he was when he's 25? He's still running the streets all night, falling asleep in the car and shit. He's still acting like that same dude. Then it's almost like, damn, Pawpaw, you can't help us because I got kids now. And you acting the same, that has to be demoralizing. To have a relationship with your father that was a particular way, and then he turns 60, 65, and he don't want to come get your kids either. He don't want to spend time with your kids. Or he wants to
come get him, but you don't want him to get him because of who he was back in 1982.
Yeah.
You know, nah, man, you was this. Yeah, I used to drink. You know, I was on tour with Bobby Brown. Yeah, I was doing these things. But like I said, Father Time then tapped him on the shoulder.
Tapped him on the shoulder.
Yeah, he even got it. The idea of chasing women now just sounds exhausting. The idea of being out here in these streets, like I said, he can't drive at night. You know, he get to walking too many steps. His knees is aching. Like he trying to sit down somewhere. He trying to sit down somewhere and get a plate. You know what I'm saying? And to act like you, especially when you go back all the things that have happened historically, if you are a black man or woman and has made it 5, 6, 7, 8 decades on this, you have value. This idea that you have nothing to give because you didn't walk the straight and narrow your entire life is ridiculous. You have seen so much stuff, experienced so many things that you have value. You have stuff that you can instill, even if it's don't be like me. Like there are things that you have experienced that you can share with true first person testimony that a younger generation can get value from.
I always say that, Jermaine, is long perspective. I was just saying that I don't consider an elder someone who's hella successful. No. Like you're 65 and you're a lawyer and got hella. No. You have experience. You have and hopefully you learn from your mistakes. Then you can really help me because it'll be, I went through this. This is what I learned. I like meeting older people to ask them, like, if you were around during the civil rights movement, give me your take. That had to be something. Give me your take on that. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. There's. Let's remove the elder component. Let's just say, conservatively, you're 50 years old right now. Like right now, if you're 50, what you've seen in this world in the last 50 years. I mean, so if you were born in, what does that put you? 72? Mm-hmm. So what the world looked like from when you grow up in the 70s to the early 80s. So this is pre-internet, This is everybody was 8-track tapes when you was a kid. This is, all this stuff that was happening, them sandalwood side paneling station wagons and all this other stuff that was existing when you were a little kid, to just what technology in the world has been in your lifetime alone. Like you was Encyclopedia Britannica, now you smartphone in your lifetime.
That's deep right there.
There is so much that has happened and changed, and regardless if you was in the game or not, you could have had you could have had a job where you was an assistant manager at Kinko's, you could have been in the streets, you could have been a doctor, but just the advancements of that have changed in life that you were here for. That you remember what happened when Reagan was in office. You remember what the world was like when Reagan got shot and how everybody acted and behaved, to when Bush was in, to the Clinton administration, to the second Bush, to Obama, to Trump. Like just what you've seen, all these different things that have happened in life, you have a perspective, you have a voice. Like you have two sets of eyes. Like you have a set of eyes. You've seen different things, you've experienced stuff. And to just sit there and say, because you don't have a 6-figure job now, or maybe you on your 3rd marriage, or you got 3 kids by 3 different women, that you have absolutely no value to bring to the game. It's just ridiculous. You've got so much life experience and perspective, and realistically, it's the people who haven't walked the straight and narrow who actually have more varying points of view most of the time. If you went straight to college, then you got in your profession, you've been at the same job for 20 years, you've kind of got a streamlined way of thinking. The people who've been bouncing around to a bunch of different jobs, a bunch of different areas, seen a whole bunch of stuff, those people actually have a better understanding of the different kinds of people that are out there. So to act like because they're not quote unquote successful by whatever litmus you use, that they don't have value to bring, I just don't agree with that.
Very true. Very true. So we need the moral of the story is we need all of our elders.
We need everybody.
We need everybody, and we need everybody to begin taking it more serious. Like I tell everybody, man, if you looking at some people I know, I never say names, who frown upon police brutality. I mean, they post about it. I can tell it angers them. They looking at their kid. It angers them. They like, wait a minute, what's going on with this country? I have a social media. I have a voice. I'm going to say something. Then I see you with your son, and your son ain't got no shoes on. You ain't brush his hair. Fuck that. No, we can't have it both ways, people. You need to channel that. Like, you don't have to be that type of revolutionary. You ain't got to go out and march. You ain't got to put your fist up. You ain't got to participate. I want you to, but you ain't got to do none of that. Go home and dig in with the kid.
Well, I think what people forget too is that. So let's go the height of when we talk the civil rights era.
Yeah.
When we look at that was probably the most all hands on deck period of time that we had between the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, between not only Dr. Martin Luther King, but all the Black Southern churches, between Huey and Bobby and the Black Panther Party, between all a lot of the gangs that were popping up in Southern California, and just all these other different groups that were springing around all across the country. The idea that it was only one type of person or one type of way to participate is just not true. You had hustlers in the streets who were financing a lot of the movement. They're like, look, I'm not about to be out here protesting with you. I'm not about to be out here marching and putting my fist, but here's some money. You go do what needs to be done with the money.
Yep.
I'm not going to do this and that. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a perimeter. Ain't nobody coming in here. You do what you do. We're going to provide security.
Man.
Do you know what I mean? Like you had bake sales. You had people who were doing all kind of stuff that were never on the front line with their fist up in a picket sign. But they did what they could do where they were for the better part of the movement. Everybody's not supposed to be Malcolm. Everybody's not supposed to be at the podium. And you may have a life that you can't be out here in the streets with your fist up.
Yep.
But you can educate where you are. You can show grace and love where you are. You can practice those tenets that you want to see behaved in the streets. We talk about, we need love and equality and this and that, but you don't show love or equality to people you know. You know what I'm saying? Practice the tenets you want to see in the streets.
Yeah.
And we can do what you can with what you've got where you are.
Exactly. And I look, because Jermaine, I even look at our young brothers who shoot and kill each other. I say, because people be like, we got to get rid of. I say, whoa. They come from this system too, but let's think about it real quick. They have the willpower to be violent, right? So we say, yes, we don't want violence in our country. We don't.
Yeah.
But let's sit back and look at it. If we are to be like a black militia, what if we are all black people as one, right?
Yeah.
And we have to say this one group of black, we have to go against any other group of people. Well, to me, one of the reasons why Black Wall Street was able to get bamboozled and they use an excuse to go there and shoot him and kill him, in my opinion, one of the main things they didn't have was a gun store. Like, if you're going to build a network, there has to be some sort of protection mechanism.
My only thing with that is because I think history tells that story a little bit differently. That wasn't no easy win.
They was fighting back.
Tulsa wasn't an easy win. So they talk about there was a lot of bloodshed on both sides when they came in there. You know, folks didn't just surrender their homes and their property just willingly. It was the OK Corral when they came in there. It was guns blazing.
Makes sense.
And so so because I think that's what happens too. We constantly tell the story of the victimization of Black people. We don't tell the fight.
That's a good point.
We take the standpoint of this happened to us. This was done to us. They did this to us. It wasn't just a walk-in, lay down situation.
Good point.
You know what I mean? It took air bombing the city and pickup trucks, loads of people, including the police department from the neighboring town, to come through, set fire to the homes, and shoot out anybody who didn't evacuate. It wasn't no easy win. They took them crop duster planes filled with fuel and to burn the like it was going down in Tulsa.
That's a good point, Jermaine. It reminds me of when history makes you think that all slaves was just willing, like all the slaves were just cool with it, and they was.
It's why they don't teach Nat Turner in his story in its entirety. It's why they don't teach Denmark Vesey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Makes sense. It makes
you know what I mean? Like that's why they don't talk about the Haitian Revolution much.
1804 was a cold one.
Yeah. So what we hear a lot of times is the victimization side, or the end result.
Yes.
You know, but it makes a big difference if somebody put a finger on you and you fell down 10 seconds into the fight versus you lost a 15-round fight.
Big difference. True.
Now the outcome may still be the same. You took the L, but there is a huge difference in how the story is told.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yep. Okay, so that's it for that news story, fellas. We kind of went on a tangent, but it was all good. It was necessary. You feel me? My brother Jermaine Morris on the show, chilling with me today. So next thing I want to touch on real quick, a little domestic dispute. We have another one of our fellow rappers. It seems like this year, the past couple years, there's been an ample number of hip hop artists who've died from different reasons, sometimes at the hand of another brother, sometimes from drugs. Yeah. But I want to talk about this situation because it goes a little deeper than just the brother being killed. So give me 1 second here, Jermaine. We'll pull this up. Okay. But that's good conversation right there, man. We need everybody.
Yeah.
We need everybody in this movement, and we just got to let everybody know we need you. Like, you're a part of this. And something else I was thinking about, Jermaine, because we were talking about, like, everybody, me and Jermaine did a live show at the Malcolm X Fest. We had the Malcolm X Fest here in Sacramento, California, 2 or 3 weeks ago. My first time doing a live show.
Great job.
Great experience. The people were listening. I don't know how it was going to go. You don't know how these things are going to go. You just try your best, put your best foot forward. But it worked out great. And we were talking about how when we look at some of these events, as I pull this video up, we were looking at some of these events, and sometimes it's the same people there. Like, we have a particular type of conscious, quote unquote, community, and we know where things are. We're always arriving to things, but we was like, wait a minute, we gotta like broadcast this outside of this circle we're in.
Yeah.
Like, we have to go where the people who don't normally come here go. You know what I mean? Because that was the important point. I went home thinking about that, Jermaine. Like, damn, how can we get like the hood to show up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we do a lot of preaching to the choir.
There we go.
So, you're talking. You're already talking to Shea Butter, and you know what I mean, and patches and medallions and the beads and the onks, and like you already speaking to the choir.
Yep.
So but if you're trying to bring in new people, you just can't start with what you're interested in. You got to go to those other places and reach those people who may not normally hear the message.
Yep. Because the point we were making, everybody is necessary. So figuring out a way to bring everybody in. I was thinking about that. Damn, do I need to create an event where I like target the hood kind of, Jermaine, like target a certain type of black man? The promotion, the vendors, the music, you know what I mean?
So one thing I would say is, and I ask people too to qualify, what is the hood?
When I say the hood, I'm referencing urban, downtrodden communities without a lot of resources, so the inhabitants of the environment conduct themselves a certain way. They have a not bad people per se, but they have a particular mentality based on the environment they're raised in.
Okay, because I look at, if you're trying to reach people, I think it's as important as to reach those people. The affluent black people need to be reached. The middle class black people need to be reached. The ones who do not live in particular circumstances need to be reached. Like I think we translate, and I understand the kind of what you just said, like of the people we want to reach for. I think we prey upon our own downtrodden. I think that when we think of who needs help, who needs to hear this, we have in our mind, let me find Ray Ray who just got out. Let me catch old girl 17 who's on her second baby daddy. Let me catch so-and-so who's been selling dope and let's try to get them to do something else. We need to reach these people in the community. Okay, so we're starting with the people who do not have resources, who may not have options to proper nutrition, education, situations that could truly help them. So why are you not reaching to the people who do have the education, who do have the resources, who do have the information? It would almost seem like it would make more sense to reach them first.
And then they can help,
because they can actually do something. Like you've got position. Your career is set. If you helping out in the community is not jeopardizing your income. You know the movers and the shakers. You know the people in the school board. You know the people in the good schools, because that's where your kids go. You know how booster clubs are set up and how to get more money to your school, because you get hit up 5 times a year to make sure it pumps money into the school so your kids get all the resources they need. You know how all this gets down. So getting those people on board to then come back and help the other one. Because let's just say we get everybody who's struggling, quote unquote, on code with what to do what. Okay, so Ray Ray's like, man, Harrison, I hear you. I need to turn my life around. But I got to work. I got a baby. I got to make money. You got a place I can make some money? No. That motivation may last a week until the next bill comes in the mail. And I got to go out and do what I got to do. But if Dr. Johnson, who live on the other side of town, come over, man, and talk to Ray Ray, I'm trying to get out this game. I'm trying to get out the streets. I don't want to do this anymore. I got to make some money. Can you help me out? I think I got a position at my office. I know somebody who's got this. You got any skills? Can you do this? I think I might have something for you just to get started. Like the people who actually can do something need to get this message and get on board. But I think sometimes we prey upon the folks that we think, oh, they need to hear it most. And we don't have the resources or the stuff capable to actually help them, even if they decided to change what they were doing.
You want to lead people, you got to feed people. Okay. I see that both are net, but that's a great. I think both are, because I think
that's why I said we need everybody.
We need everybody. But I guess in my mind, Jermaine, I'll be thinking because I was driving thinking about this. I was like, damn, I actually thought about it differently. I said, okay, damn, the people in the hood who are the young man who has a gun and eager to shoot somebody. Maybe he needs to hear, maybe he needs to know there's a different way to go about it. There's just a different community of people here who got love for you. Let me share with you a little bit of history. Let's talk to your mom. Let's see what the dysfunctions are. Let's try to solve some of the problems in your community or in your house. But you saying this talk may be good, and it may benefit them for the time being. But if you can't offer them no resources, they may go back to doing the same shit they was doing.
Yeah, we talk about food deserts, and we come to somebody's house, you go through their pantry, go through their refrigerator, and you see high sodium top ramen, you see super sugar cereals and juices and sodas, and you talk to them about all the nutrition and how their brain would work better and their body would respond better if they ate better. It would affect their mood would be different. They would get better sleep. They'd have better cognitive function to deal with life. They'd be less stressed, less anxiety, all these things that would come just from the nutritional change of what they eat. They say, man, I'm so on board with that. Where can I get the stuff? But they live in a food desert.
And they ain't got a car.
There is no place around me to get it. All I got is the AMPM where I can get the Flamin' Hot Cheetos. All the stuff you talk about, we don't have those over here.
A little liquor store down the street that got hella shit for under $1.
Yeah, but we don't have the stuff you're talking about. We don't have alkaline water over here. We don't have this, and this. So I need the people with resources, the people who can set up something. All right, well, we got this, and this. I'm going to call so-and-so over here, such and such, whatever, and we're going to set up a community-based farmers market twice a month.
So we need everybody outside of the circle of the few conscious people who love this type of thing. We need to reach everybody who not here.
Well,
so
the same energy. Like I said, it's the idea. Like I said, I think that there's some praying that happens, and I say that not to be disrespectfully, but I think that there's a mindset to where let me go to where Black people are dealing with hardships, because then they need to. Those are the people who need to learn about family and community and this and that. Well, flip to that too. You can live in a more affluent area and still have a dysfunctional family with all the same abuses and atrocities happening in your zip code that happened in that one. So they need the word and the message too. But then when it comes to making actual changes, most people who are in a position when it pertains to policy, when it pertains to involved in politics, school district, financial institutions, when it pertains to grocery store dollars, all that, they live over there. They live in the affluent side. Their neighbor is the person who's the bank branch manager. You know what I'm saying? Their next door neighbor has their own dental office that can get people in and help focus on taking care of their teeth, so everybody's teeth aren't rotting out by the time they're 22. You know what I mean? The person who lives across the street has got access to, you know what I mean? Like, those are the people who can actually really do something. You talk about, you get a congregation of people who collectively got 32 cents. Talk about, let's make all these changes in the community. Well, what's the first thing we do? Well, then we turn around and got to go ask somebody. Can we get it? Can I get a grant? Can I get some funding? Can I do this? Well, all right, well, I'm gonna start selling stuff. Group economics, we promote. Okay, but you got 32 cents in your wallet. I got 55 cents in mine. So let's borrow. Okay, we're still working together, but we're not accumulating a lot right now. We need to get them folks that got their dollars together. Get those people who have those relationships, people who have those resources. And I think we throw them away. We'll sit there and say the brother who lives on the other side of town who got a white wife and kids go to an all-white school, I'm not even going to talk to him because he probably ain't going to help anyway. Maybe. But let's not just throw them away the same way we throw away 30-year-olds on this side. Talk to him. He may be like, look, I'm not going to be out on the front line with you, but here's a check. I'm not going to come out here with you, but here's a contact list. Call these people, tell them I sent you, and see if they should be able to help you. I think we write off too many folks on both sides. We need everybody. We need everybody, because sometimes it ain't what you know, it's who you know. And some of these people can make a phone call that can change somebody's life. Ain't that the real? It's funny. I was a little more limited in my thinking. I'm thinking they're already cool. Some of them may be coons, kind of. We can work on them later, but their family structure is cool. They got money, cool. Even that phrase. I look at people who are detached from community and from culture the same. So if you grew up in an area where you weren't taught about yourself, and maybe you have some self-esteem stuff, maybe your family was fragmented, you don't know your history, so you're just in a survival mode, man, I ain't got time to hear all that Black stuff. I'm trying to eat. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to do this. Versus I made it myself. I'm self-made. I live where I want to live. I don't have the same connection to community because maybe I wasn't taught that. And what was programmed to me was go to school, go to college, get a good job, get a good house. They have the same disconnection to community. But on one, we'll say, well, they just need information. But the other one, we call them coons. Like, I treat them the same. Like, talk to both of them. Like, they both have value potentially to bring. and they both may need the information the same. But I just think, I said, we have such a practice of just writing folks off with a label that we want to give them. And most of the time, we ain't even talked to them. It's some type of template that if they don't fit into this, they must be that.
Well, I will say this.
Yeah.
Now, the coon thing for me, because I've held back a lot. Like I was quick to throw this word out. However, I consider the gangbanger and the black man on TV speaking down on our community. I look at them the same way. I feel both of them can be can negatively affect how things are shaped in our country. Like if we, I'm not gonna say nobody's name, but if we look at a black man on TV speaking negatively about black people. Now, of course, you're right. You have a conversation with him. He may have a perspective that you're like, oh, okay, I ain't think about it that way. But shouldn't he be responsible? Like, shouldn't he say, this is how I think. Shouldn't he say, okay, I'm a part of this black community. I hold weight. Like my words, I'm on TV every day. My words hold weight. If I come out and say said thing, it may push the envelope one way or the other. So why don't I be quiet or say no comment or something? Then behind the scenes, do my work. You know what I mean?
All that to me is predicated on the word should. And I'm like, out of all the words in the English language, should is one of my least favorites.
Okay.
And so I would say that the should, the place is called Should Land. And most people who live Should Land is a highly populated place with a bunch of miserable people. When we think of things of how something should be, because should is predicated on knowledge that we may or may not have. So you 40 years old, you should know this by now. Why? Were you there the 39 years prior to 40? Were you there when he was taught something? Were you there when somebody explained it to him? He confirmed that he understood and then went forward without acting accordingly? Well, no, I just figured he's been on this earth this long. You should know. Okay, well, your should is not rooted in anything real. Your should is based upon your opinion, which may have absolutely nothing to do with that person's life or experience. So when I say this guy, he's on TV, he should know that if he says this or says that, I have absolutely no idea of knowing what he quote unquote should or should not know. So until I've spoken to him and I get his understanding of where he comes from, why he has that perspective, and why he feels the way to express it the way he does, I have zero knowledge on what he knows and the effects of. But we put should on a lot of people. We say, you 30 years old, you should know how to change a tire. Who did you see show him how to change a tire? Oh, no one. No one in his 30 years of life ever showed him how to change a tire. But he's just supposed to know. He should know. She should know how to cook. Why? Who did you see teach her how to cook? Well, nobody. But she should know. Your should is not rooted in reality. Should is rooted in your opinion and your judgment of that other human being. And that's not related in anything that has to do with that person as an individual. So when I say I treat them the same, the guy that's on TV talking reckless, the person who's behaving a certain way in the community, because I don't know. I have not spoken to them. I treat them the same. Give them the information. Understand their perspective, see where they are, see what they need, and see where they're trying to get to. And if you can supply an alternative, either by behavior or by perspective, then see what they do after that. Like, okay, I get it. I'm out here in the streets. I'm just trying to get money to feed my daughter. That Biggie song. Okay, I understand why you're doing what you're doing. Here are some alternatives that will make you what you're making now. Here's a person you can go to. Here's a thing that you can do, which is what we've established you're capable of doing, that will give you the money to take care of your daughter. Now, if you choose not to do it, the reason why you're doing it ain't the reason why you say. Like you tell me you just needed money to feed your daughter. I gave you an opportunity to get the money to feed your daughter. If you choose not to do it, you ain't out here in the streets because you're trying to feed your daughter. There's another motivation. So from then on, I can say, okay, that ain't why. So we can cross that off the list. But until we've done that work, that individual conversation, that type of intimacy, that we just like I said, we gotta go back for everybody in every zip code and every tax bracket.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Brother Jermaine Morris. That's why he on the show, everybody. That's why he on the show, everybody. Got to break that thing down, man. This guy breaks it down for me. Melanated Convo, baby. All right. So Next news story, really quickly here. I want to play this real quick. Then me and the brother Jermaine gonna talk about it. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Okay. Hold on 1 second. Come on. It's acting funny today. All right.
Authorities in Rockdale County are searching for the man they believe gunned down an Atlanta music artist. The rapper, Trouble, was found dead early this morning at an apartment complex in Rockdale County. Tonight, investigators say they know who they're looking for. News Edge reporter Joy Dukes has the latest on that investigation.
Yeah, news of Trouble's death has been trending on social media as fans and industry friends post their condolences. While his killer still has not been found, neighbors who heard it all happen say they are still in shock. A deadly shooting Sunday morning inside an apartment at Lake St. James apartment complex in Conyers ended the life of 34-year-old Atlanta rapper Trouble.
Upon deputies' arrival, they observed the black male, lying on the ground, suffering from a gunshot wound.
The artist, whose real name is Muriel Orr, was shot once in the chest just before 3:30, according to authorities with the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office.
I know that there is a lot of people that are really upset right now, are brokenhearted about the situation.
A spokesperson says Orr was visiting a female friend when the suspect, now identified as Jermaine Jones, forced his way into the apartment and fired that fatal shot.
Mr. Jermaine Jones did know the female, and it was a domestic situation.
Resident Loki Blanchett tells Fox 5 he heard it all happen as he was coming home to his apartment right across the hall.
As I'm going up the back, I realized that, they were saying they was trying to revive somebody.
He says he was in shock watching the scene unfold in what he describes as a normally quiet neighborhood.
To be honest with you, we don't have that type of situations or issues that happen in this particular neighborhood. So to find out that you have a local celebrity, that's inside your residential area, and this is what happened, it was like very, very traumatizing.
The Rockdale County Sheriff's Office does not have any leads on Jones's whereabouts at this time.
We did search the known locations that we thought he may be at, but we did not have any luck finding him.
Jones is wanted on charges of felony murder, aggravated assault, and home invasion. Now, if you have any information that can help the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office in their investigation, you are asked to call this number. It's 770-278-8188. In Conyers, Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Okay, so Jermaine, when looking at this story, because again, this isn't to kind of get into the minutia of all the things that could have taken place in this situation. I just wanted to speak about the domestic piece. Like, what should our women do in situations like this? Because like you made, and I'm gonna have you say it in a minute, but you made some good points about all the different angles that this. Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you made a good point about the different angles this thing could have shaped in. But my biggest point was like our women. This is just a point I wanted to make. Our women accepting different variations of domestic violence. Like even if it's a push, a shove, your man gets angry. We all know, I've known a lot of women who it don't get to this level where they get killed or anything, but it gradually escalates from a push, a shove, something more violent. So give me your take on just the relationships ending this way when it comes to men and women.
So I think kind of we were talking about earlier before we got on, I don't start with women. So if a woman is in a situation where, so let's just shift to where we're already here. Forget all the preemptive stuff. Where she's in a relationship with somebody and he puts hands on her, regardless of whatever flag she did or didn't see, whatever. Like she has that encounter, and she's in an abusive relationship. At that point, I mean, you're trying to do your best to remain safe. And if you're dealing with somebody who has already shown you that they don't have an issue with harming you, you're kind of walking around a field of landmines on what moves you make. They'll say, well, call the cops and get a restraining order. Okay, he goes to jail for the night. You get your paperwork. And then he's sitting in a jail cell for 24, 36, 48 hours, hating you. And the first thing he wants to do when he gets out is come see you. So how women have to move when it pertains to domestic violence, I don't think that there's a blanket path. Like a lot of them have to kind of do some feeling out. Like, because like I said, you're dealing with an erratic, abusive human being. So that's why I don't start with them when it pertains to this sort of stuff. This to me, like I said, it's part of what we're talking about at the beginning of the self-esteem deficiency part when it pertains to men. That the idea of, oh, you're not going to leave me. Oh, you just going to throw me aside for another dude? Oh, you think you're just going to live your life with like, and just leave me? Like the idea that you're operating with such a low space of self-esteem, that the idea of the rejection is not one that you can bear. The idea of another person turning their back on you, another person walking away from you, feelings of lack of self-worth and dignity and all that. You know, this is stuff that the dude, well, this is the fact that the abuser's dealing with. So whether it be the woman abusing the man, I mean, we have our LBGT community where you have women who are abusing women, men who are abusing men. Like when you're dealing in an abusive relationship, the abuser, if that's the mentality that you're in, like, we have to look at, like I said, this is the community part. Like that's something I don't want to put it on the person. I don't want to put it on the victim of how the victim need to move differently. Like I would start with, how do we corral the abusers, catch this behavior? Because I have never known of a man, and you can tell me if you have, who has a history of hitting women that everybody was completely shocked.
Ain't that? No, you're right.
Do you know what I'm saying? When you hear about so-and-so put hands on her, well, everything about him said that he probably puts hands on women. So it's like the corralling of that dude, of catching him before, you know, pulling that guy aside, having this conversation with this dude, like, you know, outside of, I think what we do is we try to hang punishment over dude. Oh, don't put hands on her, you're gonna go to jail. Or if you put hands on her, just, you know, repercussion, as opposed to instilling in him why it's not necessary to put hands on her. You know what I mean? Like instead of word, you know, we instill, try to work on consequences as opposed to motivation
and prevention.
Like we try to tell folks, don't do this because what bad can happen to you. No, don't do it because you don't need to do that to her.
Ain't that something? And then it's funny you say that, because I don't have any close men around me who like physically, like close fists hit women and abuse women. Of course, the friends I have, I would be able to talk to them, right? But I do know just growing up in particular environment, dudes who are more prone to violence in any situation, and you would see them conduct themselves with a woman, and it seems a little too handsy, and he's a little too comfortable pushing her or shoving her, talking to her a certain way. You know what I mean? So in essence, Jermaine, we have to figure out a way to get to these dudes, whether it be your little cousin, your little brother, whatever. You have to figure out a way to talk to him and let him know where he could be headed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, I've had conversations with, I'm gonna say people I know, because they're no longer my friends. Like after certain situations and things that have happened, and we have to make it known that like the behavior is not going to be tolerated. Because I think the problem we have in our community is that, I mean, it's a ridiculous number of how many black women, which is sticking in our community, black women before the age of 30 have either been just physically or sexually assaulted. Like we're talking about all the other forms of abuse, but the high number of black women who've been physically or sexually assaulted by 30, for no dudes to know any abusers. When you ask brothers, man, why nobody in my circle, I don't know nobody who do this. I don't know. Yeah, you do. There's too many black women getting abused for nobody to know anybody who puts hands on women. So it's when we got to sit there and confront and have a conversation and address and put some, like, no, she may not have a brother or a daddy, but me and you gonna have a problem if you put hands on her again. And I don't even have to know her like that.
And that's like a stance you got to be willing to take. And then I think, to your point that you don't know anybody who abuses, I think, Jermaine, we have a lot of men who who kind of hide that side of them, or have friends who see them exhibit that side and think it's funny or make light of it. You know what I mean?
Because it's not my sister.
It's not my,
She ain't my girl. She ain't my daughter. She ain't my mama. She got a daddy. He need to step in. She got brothers. Where are they at? She's got, you know what I mean? And there's, like I said, whenever I hear dudes tell me, I don't know nobody who has ever done anything to a woman ever, either you are oblivious or you are lying.
I would have to say oblivious. To me,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
thinking now, like, damn, wait a minute, let me.
There's too many women getting abused for nobody to know anybody doing the abusing.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just happening too frequently for nobody to know nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and I think men, because I think men don't want to acknowledge it at times, but sometimes we'll have relationships that are a little bit too surface too.
Yeah.
Where you talking about particular things and you ain't even really get down to what, how, not just you got a girl, but how you and your girl doing? How'd that situation happen? How'd that situation happen? And if you dig deep, they'll end up telling you something, you know what I mean? But if it's your boy, you've been knowing him since you was a kid, you may not look at it like, oh, he ain't really abusing her.
Oh, when he tell you, man, I tried to leave, she was tripping. I mean, she wouldn't let me leave. She threw my phone against the wall. What happened? I mean, she turned around and called the cops because she said I did this and this. Well, did you touch her? Yeah, but I mean, we was hitting each other, and it was this, and they give you a full story. Now he didn't told you he put hands on her in the story.
He did, yeah.
But because he means something to you and she doesn't, you side with him and justify his behavior.
Ain't that something? Damn.
You know what I mean? He's your friend. She the plus one. Like, I only know her because she with you. You know what I mean? Something? So I'm supposed to side with her over you? No, you're supposed to side with what's right.
Damn. And this makes me, Jermaine, having kids, having 5 boys. When my kids get into relationships, I try to check their temperament and see what happens when they get mad at the woman. You know what I mean? Like, where do they take it? How far are they willing to go when they get upset? Because I have seen young dudes who become abusive based on what you said earlier about self-esteem, based on the fact that they're not articulate enough and not inept with their emotions to sit a woman down and say, hey, what you did hurt me. Like, that made me feel a particular way. So they're not good at doing that. And then they're kind of inept to the street side of things. So it all goes hand in hand to a degree, but it's still something we need to eradicate. You know what I mean?
Let's remove the street component, because I think that gets worked in too much. Because you can find the most street dude. He knows who he can talk to in what ways in the streets.
Very true.
If this dude is out here hustling, if this dude is a part of any type of organized group, whatever, he understands pecking order. He understands protocol. You know, you just ain't gonna walk up on anybody and say anything. You ain't just gonna randomly put your hands on whomever who upsets you. You understand? So that dude is like, oh, he's out of control, or he doesn't get it. No, he knows. He know. Because he know there'll be real repercussions if he put his hands on that man. It's funny that a lot of them dudes who have no problem putting their hands on a 5'5", 150-pound woman can find all this resolve and discipline when he's 6'4", 280 in front of him.
Now you want to talk.
Yeah, all of a sudden now we can get dialogue. We need to have a sit down. We need to schedule a sit down. And we need to get to the bottom of this. We need a resolution. His vocabulary stretches way further than it do with her. I'm just saying. I mean, we just need to, you know what I'm saying? We just need to we need to be able to coexist. You know, like it ain't because he out of control. It ain't because he owns money. He understands.
So you think, okay, so ultimately, because you can go with like a man who's mentally ill and all these types, that could be a thing sometimes, but
that ain't the bulk, in my opinion.
You saying we dealing with cowards for the most part?
I'm thinking we dealing with the same way you don't have patience. You don't have patience for your children when you come home, but you have 40 hours a week of patience for your boss.
That's the thing, Jermaine.
Because you is all as angry, as frustrated, as pissed off, is all in your feelings. You are every single day at your job. You ain't never said 2 words to your boss or knuckled up. So don't tell me that you don't know how to check your feelings and your emotions and compartmentalize when you realize when it's high stakes.
Damn.
How many times have you heard stories of dudes sending their boss to Popeyes for that 2-piece and that dirty rice?
Never. He'll talk about it though. Oh, I wanted to hit him. Oh,
and they don't do it.
Nope.
Because they know consequences and repercussions. It don't mean that if he'd have said one more thing to me, he said 20 more things to you. All you did is quit. So let's not act like
all you did is storm off.
All you did is storm off, take your ball, and go home.
Take your ball.
So let's
and go
not
home.
act like you can't figure out a way to come up with some patience, some discipline, and some resolve.
Oh, I think you hitting on something right now, Jermaine, because I'm gonna speak specifically for black men. You out in the world, ain't nobody respecting you. You ain't built. I just did a show about this. You ain't built up your career, and you haven't done the work in yourself. So you're not where you want to be in life.
Yeah.
You got to go to this bullshit job. If you quit, your probation officer gonna be at your house. You got to take this little bit of money. You hate it. He just yelled at you. You can't say nothing, but I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna take it out on a woman. I'm gonna whoop these kids' ass. These are the only people I can control, and watch me do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the question is it's not your mental health. It's not your lack of discipline or resolve. It's not your inability to control yourself, because you do that all the time. You fall in line all the time. You fall in line in the streets. You fall in line in the classroom. You fall in line on the clock. You fall in line in front of your PO. You fall in line in front of your judge. You fall in line in front of your correctional officer. You fall in line all the time. So don't act like you all of a sudden, I just couldn't control myself. Yes, you could. Yes, you could. And the reason why you had to deal with a parole officer, a correctional officer, all that is because you couldn't control yourself against somebody that you could control.
Ain't that something? And you're right, Cassius. Conflict resolution ain't even a word a lot of our young men hear. Like it's not, but like Jermaine is saying, we have to talk conflict resolution, but then we have to talk like self-esteem and being the best version of yourself, so you don't lash out on the presumably weak around you. You know what I mean? Because you could teach a kid conflict resolution skills, but if he's 30 and he wake up one day and realize he ain't where he want to be in life, he don't got the woman he really want, his son's birthday coming up and he got $12, you see, it's gonna be built up, and some men gonna go home and the kid is running around, trigger. The woman say, I need some sugar, trigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he go to a job with a boss that he know he could whoop, but get talked to like he the child. Some dude, 2/3 his size, is looking at him. I said, I'm out the floor, Johnson. Man, every time he come around here, but he gonna grab that mop.
He gonna grab that mop and begrudgingly start mopping.
And as soon as he walk in the front door, he's screaming because the corn was 2 degrees colder than what he wanted it to be. And now he got to start putting hands on folks.
Ain't that something?
It was. Now he was under control for 8 hours. Take that table, 9 hours because he took a lunch.
Took a 14-minute break, didn't even take 15 minutes.
All that. He held it all together all day long at the job and come home and put hands on somebody.
Ain't that something? Damn, that could be the unpacking of it. Like the men, not just control, because you're right, it ain't control. It ain't
control.
You don't feel like a man, my guy.
No, because the streets are predicate control. You ain't just gonna come around here and start selling over here. You ain't gonna come over here and start setting up shop over here.
Or else.
Yeah, or there's going to be real world repercussions instantly.
And you know they do that. So okay, I'm cool. I'm going back around the corner.
Yeah, you ain't just gonna come up in here. I just didn't pay him back. Why? Because I don't have to. Okay, see how that go.
see how that go.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna do nothing. See how that go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You learn control and you learn discipline. You know, and the folks who get locked up, that whole system is controls and discipline. You ain't just gonna walk into a new pod. You get sent up somewhere, sent up state somewhere. You think you just gonna walk in and start calling shots and saying what you gonna do and what you ain't gonna do?
The hardest person to tell you about jail, you better pay attention to what you're doing and who you just said that to.
Everybody you talk to, your body language, your tone, all that stuff. So when we say, oh, it's from the streets or is this that? No, because the streets will teach you discipline. The streets will teach you protocol.
Ain't that something?
And if you've ever been locked up, you learned day one.
Respect.
Yeah.
It's damn near everything.
Yeah. So these are people, like I said, we're starting with folks who it's a self-esteem deficiency. And that gets triggered by every form of disrespect. And then you feel impotent in the world. You feel like you can't manifest. You got all these dreams that are dying on the vine. You got all these opportunities. You watching the windows close one after another. And you in a situation that you don't see your way out of. And then it just turns into biological pecking order. I'm bigger than you. So I can't impose my will in anything else in this life, but I can impose my will on you.
Damn.
Like I can't whoop the system. I can't whoop this job. I can't whoop this education. I can't whoop this tax bracket, but I can whoop you.
I can whoop you, and I'm gonna feel better after doing it. Like,
and even if I don't, it's just gonna be, I'm gonna get a win somewhere.
Ain't that some shit?
There are dudes, and there's things that some women don't get. This is as cold as it may sound. This is where a lot of men cheat. There's a correlation between this infidelity and this man's lack of control, like of the rest of the world. He's getting whooped in every other aspect of life. But if he can go out in the world and get this woman, that's a win.
I just did a show about this, about young men, how young men should approach the dating game. And young men sometimes will try to fuck their way to success.
That's it. That's a win.
They haven't established anything. They didn't go to school the way they wanted to. They looking at their woman, but they looking at girls on Instagram too. She ain't what I'm supposed to be with. So I'm gonna go find somebody that make me. I'm gonna go be a man somewhere.
Sex is a win. So it's testosterone based. Sex and fighting. I'm gonna go pick a fight and see if I can win this fight, or I'm gonna try to take some woman home.
Make myself feel good.
Those are wins, even if it's fleeting.
Yep.
That's a win. I took a loss from this job. I got a girl at home, and every time she talked to me, even if she's being sweet and kind, even if she's nice, at least if she was argumentative, I could fight with her and try to get a win there. But if she's nice, that's actually worse, because it makes me feel even worse about being a loser out here in my mind.
I'm a loser and she nice to me.
And she's supporting me and I still can't show up.
She's supporting me and I still ain't shit.
Like, she's loving and supportive and I'm still coming up short. At least if she's angry and short, at least we can fight. You know what I mean? But if she's being supportive and loving, that make me feel even worse.
Man, that's Jermaine.
Let me go out in these streets and get a win somewhere.
And this can even be, you bring your gun with you and do step on your shoe.
I just need to
push
get a
you
win.
a little bit. I can get him.
I just need a win. I just need a win. Let me hit this lick real quick. I need a win. Let me get on these dice. I need a win. Let me take this girl home. I need a win. Let me just knock this dude out. I need a win. Like, I just need a win out here.
And not knowing you're going to wake up tomorrow and need a win again.
Yeah. But that's where when you're starting with that self-deficiency, it's like quicksand. It's an hourglass. It's always depleting, because if you don't have something to plug it up substantially, something that is sustainable, where you actually understand your worth and your value, you actually understand your position and your purpose, where you're actually building upon something that will continue to grow. You got a hole that you keep putting wet cardboard over it. Yeah, it plugs it for 3 hours, but then the cardboard breaks through and then the hole starts coming back down again. The wins you're trying to get are not sustainable wins. Sleeping with that girl that you didn't really know, you feel good about yourself at night until next month when you get the text that she's pregnant. Now all of a sudden, you thought you was taking L's before. Now you got another baby on the way. You couldn't feed the one you got now.
Ain't that something?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you all the stuff that you're trying to do to get a win, these are not sustainable wins. You got to get, like I said, start with those self-esteem deficiencies, actually figuring out who you are. Establish whatever that is. Like, you don't have to be something big, huge, grandiose. You ain't got to be president. Like, figure out what it is you do, what works for you. What can you do? What can you create? What can you build off of? And start getting some wins that way.
There you go.
You know, and some sustainable wins that you can continue to repeat. But we got a lot of dudes out here taking so many L's that they are just trying to find wins in all the wrong places.
Try to find wins in all the wrong places. Young black men, all the black men in our community, putting your hands on a woman ain't the way. Like, you, because I was telling people in the video the other day, Jermaine, something I had to learn later in life. You early in life, teens, 20s, early 30s even, you should be chasing your purpose. Whatever that can be, to be the manager at Starbucks. That could be what you want to do with your life. But spend time heading in that direction.
When you figure out your purpose, you don't chase it.
Ooh.
When you figure out what your purpose is, you don't chase it.
Ooh.
You embody it.
God.
It's one, like, what was the Last Dragon? Leroy, the glow. He was chasing the master, his sensei. You remember the Last Dragon showing up?
Yeah.
The little Asian dude he was treating said, "Man, go to this place," and it was the fortune cookie factory.
Yeah.
Then he sent him here, and he was going here. He was chasing the master.
Oh man.
When he realized it was him, is when he embodied it. When you figure out your purpose, what you're supposed to be doing in this life, you embody it. You don't have to chase it.
I know that firsthand, brother. That's in you. Yeah.
It's you. And then that's a sustainable plug. You know who you are. So the whole that's everything keeps coming out is, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be? What type of man am I supposed to be? What type of this? All these questions is what the whole is. So every time somebody presses you with something, it exposes the whole. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You don't know what you offer. You don't know what you bring. So every time you take an L, it exposes the whole. When you figure out your purpose, it plugs the hole. Damn. So now I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know. So I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what name you call me. I don't care. You want to leave me? Go ahead. It doesn't mean I won't miss you, but I know who I am, and I know that just means this ain't for us, and I will find a person that is in alignment for me. Life will go on. Everything doesn't hang in the balance of this person not liking me, or this person cheating on me, or this person saying bad things about me on the internet. Like, I know who I am. I know what I bring. I know what I offer. I got the glow. You can leave if you want to.
I got the glow around this, brother.
And when you get to that place of your purpose, you ain't chasing nothing. You attract. And then you manifest and build. And then you all this stupid stuff you find yourself in while you don't know who you are, that mess goes away. Like, that's the part I think that we try to instill to young people. Once you figure out who you are, you'll be surprised how much of this stupid stuff just seems to just vanish. Like, you still live in the same world, but the people that you see every day, there's people you don't see every day. Like, you sit in a classroom and you notice the girl that's based upon what you like right now. There's 3 girls in your classroom you've never even seen before. But all of a sudden, if you change what you like, you don't see the girl you used to see all the time before. Now you see the 3 girls. You're like, are you new here? Nah, but we've been having cool together since the 8th grade. Are you new to the neighborhood? No, we lived across the street forever.
That happened. I've seen that happen.
The stuff you see all the time right now, you don't see it anymore. And the stuff that you never saw before, all of a sudden starts showing up in front of you. You don't have to move and get a new city and a new this, and this. Your perspective changes. Your perception of what you see and how you experience it changes. And all of a sudden, like I said, a lot of this nonsense that you think is so important right now, you don't see it anymore. And the stuff that you think is running from you and eluding you, you find out has been waiting for you. It's been standing over there waving its arm, waiting for you to show up. It's not running from you.
Damn. Woo! That's the gospel right there, Jermaine. Embody it. Because this is so real to me, bro. Because these are all things I'm dealing with, like, in real time.
Yeah.
The difference between kind of doing something, and I like it, I'm gonna do it every now and again, and being that. Yeah. Once you become it, things, God damn, Jermaine, brothers need to hear that, man.
Once you figure out what that thing is, and there is no there's not the judgment of what that thing should or should not be. That's why we get rid of the should. The thing that you do well, that speaks to who you are, may manifest itself in cutting hair, may manifest itself in lawn care, may manifest itself as being a plumber, may manifest itself in art, painting. It may manifest itself in crunching numbers, may manifest it like it's not, there is no should or shouldn't. What is that thing for you? And embody what that thing is. And then you figure out the lanes that generate the income or the avenues that you want to take to do said thing.
That's deep right there, brother. That's deep. And I think some of this, Jermaine, is the core of a lot of the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
People, all people, but our people specifically, if we focused on this train of thought, some of our problems would be gone overnight, because some of what you're saying, Jermaine, is when you embody in what you're supposed to be doing, the focus you put on other stuff just leaves. Like it ain't even, you thought it was an obstacle.
Like I look at, change names to protect the innocent. There was a brother I knew, still know him, but we'll just change his name. He was out there for the streets. He was out there running, ripping and running with different girls, this, that, what couldn't sustain a healthy relationship, constantly cheating, the whole nine. And because he did not believe in his worthiness of a loving partner. He didn't believe that there wasn't good women out there. But the way he felt about himself, he didn't feel like he, quote unquote, deserved one or could sustain a healthy relationship. He did some work. He got some couch time, a little therapy, he did all that. And now he's married. And all the little chicks that he used to see, he don't see them no more. All the places he just had to go, he don't even want to go. Like he didn't change cities. Like he still working the same job. Like he's still but his entire flight pattern of where he just had to be on a Friday night or what he just had to be doing, those places still exist, but just not to him anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the stuff that he goes to now, if you don't see him, either his wife or his children or both are always on his side. Because if he's not at the job, he's with his family. And that's the only place he want to be.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't change cities, didn't get a career change, he got a perspective change.
Ain't that something?
And all the nonsense that he was participating in phased out. It still exists, but it don't exist to him. And I think sometimes it's hard to believe that that's true when you're in it. You're like, man, but I got this and I got that. I said, man, but once you figure this thing out, it's magical how your world changes. Like you literally live in the same city, but it ain't the same city no more.
Ain't that something? Because some people, Jermaine, will say, which I don't completely disagree with, but they'll be like, I don't have no luck here in this city. Everything's horrible. Ain't no good men or women here. I gotta move to LA. I gotta move to Atlanta. And even though I feel you can change your scenery to get places sometimes it's fucking, sometimes it's you.
Those places. Call people who are from those places. People will tell you, people who are from LA will tell you LA is the worst place to get in a relationship. Call down to the women in Atlanta. Call down to people in Atlanta, tell what's the dating pool like in Atlanta. They'll tell you, don't come down here. So I mean, it's everywhere. Yeah. And so if you're just like, if you can't see it, that means you haven't found the thing yet.
Yeah, God.
Like I became a vegetarian about 8 years ago. Prior to becoming a vegetarian, I could tell you all the barbecue spots, all the rib spots, the steak houses. I could tell you all that. If you'd have asked me 8 years ago, where are the vegetarian vegan places? I don't know, because I ain't looking. I know where they are now. They're not new. Like they didn't just spring up. It's because I wasn't looking for them before, because it wasn't my lifestyle. Now I don't know where the new steakhouses are because I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Same buildings. If they're open, they're open. If they're closed, they're closed. That does not change my life. My perspective and what I was looking for in the life I wanted to live changed. So what I started seeing changed.
Damn. That's a simple, like to put that on very simple terms, right? Yeah. There's been stores in buildings that have a store or something type of service. I've passed by it 1,000 times, Jermaine. And then the one day that I needed it, that I changed now I need this said thing. Let me go start looking for it. I'm like, where y'all located? Y'all been there
for 30 years.
Time?
So getting in this broadcasting stuff, there are places where you can get microphone equipment, speakers, sound, all that stuff. That's been here forever.
Yep.
Until you started doing this.
Yeah.
Are there places that sell this in town? Yeah, same places that have been
right next door to you.
Yeah.
You just you looked past it.
You wasn't looking for it.
You wasn't looking for it.
So you'll sit there and say that we don't have any of those here. We don't have these type of men here. We don't have these type of women here. Nah, they're here. It's just that whatever's going on with you, you can't see them yet.
You can't see them.
There's
yet.
no opportunities. Yeah, there are. There's opportunities everywhere in this city. You can't see them yet because of whatever perception you have of what you're looking at and what you're choosing to focus on.
Damn.
But address that part that you're focusing on, which basically means address what's going on with you internally. Figure out where these little thirst traps and these whole sinkholes are and plug them up.
Plug them up.
It's internal. You're not going to plug them up with a fight. You're not going to plug them up with money. You're not going to plug them up with sex. You're not going to plug them up. If you got these holes, I can give you $1 million today and two things will happen. 12 months from now, you'll be broke and you'll be miserable. Because those sinkholes are still in place, and the miserable part will come when A, the money is gone, and B, you realize the money didn't fix it.
Money didn't fit. We see that all the time, Jermaine.
You're going to feel worse today, a year from now, than you do today.
And it's funny you say that. People will say, hey, I know rich people, and you'll be surprised. Like you would think, because as you get older, it becomes apparent to me that money helps. But happiness is kind of a personal journey. You know what I mean? That's not a financial one. No. So, boy, when I say my brother Jermaine, speaking that good game, man, this is necessary. Everybody listening to us, this is important, man. All the issues we have, sometimes it's inside of you. The problems you having, like you keep blaming people. You keep saying, I keep finding myself in this situation. I've been there. Where I'm like, damn, my luck is bad. Like then I got over like, no, not really. I kind of put myself in most of those situations, either by my actions or before my actions even happened. The way I thought about said thing started a snowball effect that I didn't realize how to fix. So this is important stuff.
If you figure some solutions. So if you look at a situation to where you have conflicts, and when you think about conflicts in your relationship, at your job, just conflicts that you're having with what you're trying to accomplish, if you start off with she said, he said, they different, and you don't see what you did, like where you are in the equation, it's your fault. Take it that way. Because if you get into an argument, altercation, problems, and you can't see your involvement, that means you are incapable of seeing their perspective and their point of view. And if you can't see the other person's point of view, then you don't know what you're doing wrong. You don't know what you're doing. If you could get into an argument with your wife or your husband, and you can see where you contributed to this argument, then you have a degree of perspective to the situation. If it's only, well, she came home saying this, and it was her with this and her with that, you can't see anything you did that prompted and or exacerbated the situation. That means whatever you were doing, you were oblivious to. So then you need to sit there and say, this must be all me, because it can't be zero me. And if I can't see any of it in me, then I need to assume that all of it is me.
Damn. That's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow.
Yeah, because the accountability is your life, and I think too often we look at what somebody else did. I look at it like this. So I know we running late, so I always kind of look at when it came to life in our situation. You remember back in the 80s, kids used to always fall in those wells. I don't know. I guess they started sealing them up, but there used to always be like some little girl falling in a well.
Yeah.
If you find yourself at the bottom of a 10-foot well, and they don't pull people out of wells by pulling them straight up. They get them out of wells by digging a trench to the side, and they come in at an angle, and they get the person out the well. So if you're at the bottom of the well and you're there because of the system, because of the man, because of racism, because of discrimination, because she ain't this or he ain't ish, and all this is why you're at the bottom of the well. That means you are there. That is the culmination of life and other people putting you in this situation. Meaning the only way you can get out this well is if somebody else gets you out. But if you realize you put yourself at the bottom of the well, that means you dug a 10-foot hole and now you're at the bottom. If you take responsibility and accountability for being at the bottom of the well, that means you're still holding the shovel. And if you're still holding the shovel that you dug 10 feet down to put yourself in, you start digging to the side.
You could dig your way out.
And just start chipping at the side. Chipping at the side. and you get a ramp and you walk yourself up out of that well. As long as you look at your life as that somebody else put you there, then it is requirement that somebody else will get you out. But if you can say, I'm at the bottom of this well due to a series of circumstances that I was included in, I'm going to take accountability, regardless if you feel that 100% just or not. I'm going to say, I'm going to take 100% accountability for the situation that I'm in. And so I'm 100% in charge of getting myself out.
Deep. That's important right there.
I'm not waiting for somebody to come along and throw a rope to me. That means I got to sit here till somebody feels benevolent or generous. I got to sit here until somebody decides they see me clawing, trying to dig. That means I got to wait till somebody decides they want to come help out. You'll be down there for a very long time.
Ain't that something?
But when you sit there and say, I made a series of decisions that led me here. Right, wrong, and different decisions, but this is where I'm at. I'm still holding the shovel. So I'm going to start digging myself out with another series of decisions.
Still holding the shovel. That's deep right there.
I still hold the shovel. And so it may take me longer to get out than it took me to get down. But I'm still digging. I'm still on my way out.
You're still on my way out. This is
your perspective will sit there and be like, look, okay, what series of decisions did I make? Not she said this to me, not he treated me that way, not they looked at me like this, not they not going to give me a break or they ain't going to give me an opportunity. What did I do? How prepared was I? How much due diligence did I do for what was necessary? How undeniable was I for that position? How much effort did I truly give? How much transparency was I in that relationship? How much shady stuff was I involved with? How half-assed did I show up from time to time? Like where was my part of this? I keep having these relationships that don't last. Why every woman I dated say I wasn't shit? Why every man you dated said the same words to you before he walked out, or the same series of events happened before the relationship dissolved? How come you feel the same way about every supervisor you've ever worked for, even though they are absolutely nothing alike individually? Oh, I have a certain view I feel about people telling me what to do. So it doesn't matter what the job is. Because of how I feel about myself, somebody telling me what to do makes me feel less than, so then I get in my feelings and now I want to quit. Oh, okay. That's why you didn't go to class. That's why you don't keep your job. That's why you break up every time you get challenged. Shovels in your hand. What are you doing? What accountability do you take for the situation that you are in? And if we adapt more of that this is me, my life, my choices, my decisions, I'm doing a lot less this, a lot less finger pointing, a lot less them, a lot less they, a lot less the man, a lot less the system. And yeah. It don't mean that those other things don't exist, but we give them a lot more power and control than we need to. That's
100% correct. And on that note, this has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. Everybody, please continue to tune in. We've been going for like an hour and 45. Rewind the tape. My brother Jermaine Morris is spitting that fire. Y'all know, man, I bring people on my show I'm intrigued by intellect. I like conversation with people that I feel I can learn from. So a lot of times, like more than not, like on my show, I'm learning from people. I like this about myself. I have a perspective about things based on my experiences, based on what I see, based on how things make me feel. But I'm willing to pivot. Like if I see something a particular way and it ain't benefiting me, and I say, well, damn, no, let me go back to I'm gonna go back to the drawing board kind of motherfucker. I'm not just gonna stick. This is because I'm stubborn. I'm a Taurus, so I'll stick to something till it just kill me. So I'm like, you know what? I need to incorporate the practice of seeing something a certain way, feeling a way, doing something a certain way, and if that shit ain't working, if it don't make sense, don't be afraid to challenge your thoughts. As a man, there's been times where challenging myself made me feel less than. Made me feel like, damn, I'm not as confident as I thought I ain't. So I ain't the shit. You know what I mean? That'll do something to you, but it's a growth thing, man. That's the only way you're going to be able to grow, everybody. So this has been another episode. Oh, on the 18th, Happy Jermaine's on the show right now, so we can talk about it. On the 18th, family, my Sacramento family, if you are in Sacramento, right? My 4th annual Father's Day softball game. Me and my family, my brother Jermaine has been there every step of the way. We do this thing the day before Father's Day where we come together and celebrate fatherhood, celebrate manhood, celebrate the need for men to spend time with their kids, but also be active. We need to run. We need to walk. So we have an annual softball game coming up a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, where we're going to have music. We're going to have better food. We're going to have snow cones. We're going to have like a little water park for the kids because it's at a different location. Well, semi-different, like 2 minutes away. But the park area is bigger, so we're going to do more with it. If you're in the Sacramento area, the day before Father's Day, June 18th, come out. 6000 Orange Avenue is where the park is. Jack Hampton Park. I think I'm gonna continue to post the flyer to the 18th. But please, if you're in the Sacramento area, come out and rock with us. Competitive game. We do a raffle, so we give presents or we give raffle prizes to the children or the people around, so you can give it to your father. We need to celebrate men. We do this in different facets of our society, but Black men need to be celebrated. Fathers need to be celebrated. I know sometimes you get it, but sometimes you got a bad rap. Sometimes you're trying hard and things ain't working out. We want you to know that we there, and through all of these things, it's important to spend time with your kids. Sometimes we get too wrapped up in the financial aspect, which is important, but spending time, quality time, being there, being around. If we getting, a lot of us getting older, our limbs they don't work as good as they used to. You need to walk, you need to jog, you need to run. So this softball game is promoting all of these qualities that we need in our community. So June 18th, if you around 12 to 4, the day before Father's Day, come rock with us. This has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. My brother Jermaine Morris, thank you so much, brother, for continually supporting me, coming on my show, making sense of all my malarkey. It's beautiful.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, so follow me on Instagram at the Melanated Convo 100, my personal Instagram page. When I got hacked like 2 weeks ago. This guy got me. I gave him all my information, y'all. He was hitting me. I was busy. Gave him all my info. He took my Instagram and my Facebook. I haven't got my personal Instagram back yet. This brother was asking all my folks for $200. Everybody was like, man, calling me. And it shows something. I don't expect people just to give money to strangers, right? Or someone you don't know. But all the people who I would say really rocked with me, they approached it a particular way. Some people just ignored it. Of course, everybody ain't on Facebook Messenger like that. But most people, the people who rocked with me, they was like, let me hit him up. What's up? You good? You all, I see you doing a little show. You got a couple businesses. You out here begging, huh? So most people was like, hey, yeah, how you want me to give it to you? Is something going on? So I appreciate that. But this bastard took my damn pages. Anyways, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast, man. We're going to keep having these great conversations. My brother Jermaine Morris, we out.